Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back once again to your biology online class. I hope all of you have given a second thought to whatever your performance has been in the first term and will try to work on it and improve it, inshallah. So today I am going to start with lesson number 5, that is endocrine system and adolescence. Now you have studied so many systems of your body. You have studied a few in class 7, and I had covered the reproduction part, that is the reproductive system in humans. I had explained the male and female reproductive system, and today I will be explaining the endocrine systems. So let's quickly see which other systems are there in the human body. Now all of us know that we have so many systems. The integumentary system, that is the system concerned with the skin and the various functions of the various parts of the skin. Then we have the skeletal system, that is the whole framework of bones that we have, what are the various bones and what are the functions. Then the muscular system, the nervous system, then we have a cardiovascular system, that is the circulatory system. Is that clear? You have come across all of them except the integumentary system and the endocrine system. In the last chapter, that is the reproduction, I had told you that I will be explaining the term hormones, and I had left over there. And today we will be studying what endocrine system deals with. Is that clear? So let's proceed on with this system. So there are basically two types of glands in our body. Glands are what? They are structures which secrete something. That secretion may be directly through a tube-like structure, that is a duct, which is called as the exocrine gland, and without a duct, which is called endocrine glands. So we have various glands in our body, which are the various parts, important parts of our body. That is, we have the pituitary, then pancreas, testes, thyroid, adrenals, and if it's a female, it's ovaries. Is that clear? These are the various glands of our body. So these glands may be grouped into two types, that is the endocrine glands and the exocrine glands. So exocrine glands are what? They release the secretion directly to the target organs. Is that clear? That is, they are secreting through ducts, that is tube-like structure, which have an opening inside the target organ. Is that clear? Target organ means the organ on which that particular secretion that is being secreted by the gland is showing its effect. So you have a very simple example, that is the salivary glands, that is they are present inside the mouth and are responsible for secretion of saliva. Is that clear? And that the saliva is secreted by the salivary glands and inside the mouth, and that this is through the ducts. Is that clear? That means you have that they have ducts. So they secrete the secretion through these openings or ducts. Is it clear? So you can see the difference between the endocrine and exocrine glands. Endocrine glands do what? They release the secretions directly into the blood. That is, they are in touch with the blood capillaries and they have no opening, or they don't have any duct, the endocrine glands, but they directly secrete into the bloodstream, and this bloodstream carries those secretion to the target organ. That means the organ on which that particular secretion will show its effect. Is it clear? So the secretion of endocrine glands are called hormones. So the hormones are carried by blood to the target organs. Is it clear? So we have certain glands which act both as exocrine as well as endocrine gland. So these glands are also called as the mixed gland. One example is pancreas. Is that clear? So exocrine part does what? It secretion is secreted through a duct into the target organ. Is that clear? So exocrine part sends its secretion to the target organ through the duct. Then the endocrine part releases the secretion directly into blood. carries it to the target organ. Is it clear? You have understood the difference between the two? So this is what is it. So the endocrine glands and hormones together form the endocrine system. Is it clear? That is, they together form the endocrine system. So today we will study in detail about the endocrine system. So hormones are chemical substances that regulate the growth or functioning of a specific tissue or an organ. They are the chemicals released in one part of the body, and they travel through what? Through the bloodstream, and affect activities of the target cells in other parts of the body. That means they have target cell. I have just told you that the effect of the hormone is seen in that particular part of the body, and they are secreted in very small quantities and directly into the blood, and that is why they are also called the chemical messengers of the body. They are the chemicals which are secreted, and which if there is a deficiency of these hormones, then there are symptoms that the body presents, and these are symptoms which will carry a message that there is something wrong in the body. That is, they are chemical substances which are also called as the chemical messengers. They are secreted directly into the blood. Is that clear? And they affect the activities of the target cells in other parts of the body. It is not important that if a particular part, like for instance pituitary gland, it's secreting a particular hormone, it's not important that this particular hormone will act over here only, in this part only, but it is carried by blood to any part of the body. Is that clear? And whichever part it has to perform its function, it will be present in that particular part. It will act on that particular target organ only, is that target part only, or target cells of that particular part only. Is it clear? In the endocrine glands in humans, what are the various endocrine glands, whether be it the male or the female? The pituitary gland, this is the pituitary gland which is present in the head. Is that clear? Then the thyroid gland which is present in the neck region. You can see this is the thyroid gland, and this is present in the neck region. Then is the adrenal gland which is present at the tip of the apex or the tip of the kidneys, the excretory organ of our body. Next is the pancreas, which is the part of the digestive system. Then ovaries, which is present in females only. This is the female gland. Is that clear? Reproductive gland, and is responsible for the secretion of the reproductive hormones. Then testes, I've already explained this to you. Is that clear? This secretes the hormones, testosterone. So I told you the name of the male and the female hormones as well. So these are the various endocrine glands present in our body. Is it clear? The first gland, starting from the top, that is the pituitary gland. You can see this is a pea-shaped gland, a very small gland, and it is situated at the base of the brain. Now this is what you can see, this all is the brain. This is the brain which you can see in the form of various curves. This is the brain. At the base of the brain is present the pituitary gland, and this is called the master gland because it controls the activities of other glands as well. Is that clear? So there are many hormones which are secreted by this particular gland, but basically in your course there are three only, that is the growth hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone, and the gonad stimulating hormone. These three hormones you will be studying. Apart from this, there is vasopressin, oxytocin, and various other hormones which are secreted by this particular gland. Is it clear? I just told you that why it is called the master gland, just because it controls the activity of so many parts of the body, so many glands of the body, that is ovaries, then testes, bones, tissues, skin, mammary glands, adrenal cortex, thyroid gland, mammary glands, I've just told you. Then the uterus, kidney, so many things it is regulating. That is why it is called the master gland. There is no other gland in the body which controls so many things. Is that clear? So many parts of the body. So first is the growth hormone. Now this growth hormone is responsible for what? It is responsible for the growth of the muscles, bones and tissues. Is it clear? So you can see this, it secretes the growth hormone, and this is responsible for the growth of muscles, bones and tissues. Definitely it is having a role in our height and the height that we attain, or in the various other functions of the body. Now first function I've just told you, that is it regulates the growth of muscles, bones and tissues. Then deficiency of this growth hormone leads to two conditions, that is dwarfism and gigantism. Let's see how a dwarf person looks like. We all have that concept in our mind. Definitely less in height, and all the parts of the body are small, smaller than the normal person of his or her age, right? Now you can see the example of two dwarf people. You can see their height very small, both of them, and here another condition where there is excessive secretion of the growth hormone, it makes a person very tall. You can compare this girl who is suffering from gigantism, and she is much taller than the other persons or the people around her. So this is due to the excessive secretion of the growth hormone, and this is due to the less secretion or under secretion of the growth hormone. So less secretion or under secretion of the growth hormone leads to dwarfism, and over secretion or excessive secretion of the growth hormone makes a person very tall, and this condition is known as gigantism. So this is one secretion of the growth hormone, is one of the secretion of the pituitary gland. Is it clear? Next function is that it stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. It stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. I just told you that it controls so many glands. So this is that it stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. And this, which hormone is responsible for this? That is thyroid stimulating hormone, which is secreted by the pituitary gland. Next function is that it secretes another hormone, that is gonad stimulating hormone. You understand what is gonad? Gonad are the reproductive organs, or like testes and the ovaries. Is that clear? So this secretes the gonad stimulating hormone. So pituitary produces both the hormones, which is responsible for secreting the thyroid stimulating hormone, the gonad secreting stimulating hormone, and of course I've just told you the growth hormone. So this, you can see this, that both the secretion of the ovaries and testes is controlled by the pituitary gland by the secretion of the hormone, that is GSH, gonad stimulating hormone, and they are stimulated to secrete the sex hormone, that is testosterone, by the testes, and the progesterone and estrogen by the ovaries. Next is the pituitary gland produces hormones that cause contraction of the muscles of the uterus during childbirth. But that is the hormone, the name is oxytocin, which is not given in your books. You can note down this name, that is oxytocin is secreted by the pituitary gland, and this causes contraction of the muscles of the uterus and leads to the childbirth, the birth of the child. Then another hormone, that is prolactin, and oxytocin is secreted by the mammary glands also, and which stimulate it to produce the milk for the newborn. You can see over here. Is it clear? So these functions, that is regulate the growth of muscles, bones and tissues by the secretion of the growth hormone. I have just told you about this. Then next I have told you about the stimulation of the thyroid gland by the secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone. Then the GSH, that is the gonad stimulating hormone, it stimulates the ovaries and testes to produce the sex hormones. I just told you this also. Then it produces oxytocin, which leads to what? That causes the contraction of the uterus muscles during the childbirth, and of course it stimulates the mammary glands or the breast to produce what? To produce milk for the newborn. Is that clear? So these are some of the functions and the hormones which are secreted by the pituitary gland. Next hormone is the thyroid gland. Next endocrine gland is the thyroid gland. Now you can see that what type of a gland is it? It is a bilobed gland. You can see this is a bilobed, containing two lobes like this. You can see this. So this red part that you can see in the form of bi means two lobes are present, one lobe and the second lobe. And where do they lie? They lie just below the larynx on either side of the windpipe. You can see the position of the windpipe, this pink structure, dark and light pink, you can see, which is labeled as the trachea. This is labeled as the trachea. This is also known as the windpipe. Is that clear? Trachea is also known as the windpipe. Now the position you can see of the thyroid gland is just below the larynx on either side of the trachea or the windpipe. What is the secretion or what is the hormone? I've just named it just now. That is the thyroid stimulating hormone is secreted by the pituitary gland, and thyroxine, it is the hormone which is secreted by the thyroid gland. Now this particular hormone contains the mineral that is known as iodine, the element iodine, the deficiency of which causes goiter. Is it clear? So you can see the three conditions. This is the normal thyroid gland, and this one, and this is the I've just told you that thyroid gland enlarges and appears as a swelling in the neck. This is the enlarged increase. Enlargement means increase in the size of the thyroid gland, and this appears as a swelling in the neck, which is very visible, very much visible over here. You must have come across people who have this kind of swelling in the neck, and it occurs due to insufficient iodine in the diet. That is why we advise to have iodized salt. That means iodine is mixed. An element called iodine is mixed with that salt, and then it is sold. Otherwise the diet is not that rich in iodine. Generally the foods which are rich in iodine are the iodine containing salt, and the seafood is rich in iodine. Is that clear? So next condition which is caused due to the less secretion of thyroxine. Now you can see the picture of this child. This child is suffering from a disease or a condition which is known as cretinism. Cretinism. This is known as cretinism. Is that clear? Now what is this condition? This is because of the less secretion of thyroxine, either at the time when his mother was pregnant, or in this child only after birth. This is abnormal physical development and mental retardation in children. Mental retardation, the person's mind or brain is not functioning normally as of a normal child, and abnormal physical development, that means his development will not be the same as the children of her age. They will be underdeveloped. Is that clear? They will be less in height, they will be mentally retarded, whatever activities they will be doing will not be normal. So this is due to the less secretion of thyroxine in infants. Now apart from goiter, what else is seen in adults? I will show it to you. Now it causes abnormal metabolism with swelling on the face and hands. This swelling is visible here over here. Same type of swelling is there in the hands as well. So I have told you that it causes abnormal metabolism. It causes with swelling on the face and hands. Is that clear? So deposition of or retention of the fluid inside the extremities, that is on the in the feet as well as in the hands, there is swelling. When there is excessive secretion of thyroxine, then it will increase the metabolic rate. There will be the person's weight will also decrease. A person will lose weight and there will be increased heartbeat and restlessness. All the activities will increase, as a result of which the heartbeat will also increase. Next endocrine gland is adrenal gland. Now it has two parts, that is the medulla and cortex. And where is it located? That is, there are two adrenal glands, that is a pair of adrenal glands are present at the top of each kidney. Now this is the kidney here, both the sides, and this is the yellowish part that you can see as the adrenal gland, and it has two parts, that is the medulla and cortex. Then adrenaline is secreted by the medulla. Is that clear? And this is known as the emergency hormone. Is that clear? Adrenaline, that is the hormone secreted by the medulla part of the adrenal gland, is called as the emergency hormone. Is that clear? Why is it called the emergency hormone? Now what happens when a person is facing any emergency? A very small example, if you see a lizard suddenly. If you see a lizard in front of you, what is your response? You tend to withdraw yourself, you tend to run away from that place, you get scared. And or at night what happens generally, if you are in a dark room, somebody switches off the light suddenly, what is your response? Your heart starts beating faster, yes or no? So these things are preparing your body to face that particular condition. Or there is fire somewhere in your house or nearby, what happens? Or when you heard about this particular COVID pandemic, what happens? What was your response when you saw people, or there were videos that were forwarded, or you saw the news, or you watched the news? What was your response? You got scared, isn't it? Initially, what you have settled down to normal now, but initially that condition was different. If there was a COVID patient near your house and you saw an ambulance approaching that particular house, what was your response? So your heart started beating faster. But if your heart continues that particular rate at which it is beating at that particular time, what will happen? A person can even die. So it is that this particular hormone prepares a person to face a stressful condition. What happens during exam? Or your teacher asks a question in the class, what happened? Or he starts questioning the students, he or she, then what happens? My turn doesn't come and your heart starts beating faster. At times in the time of exam you get nervous and students faint also. So this hormone prepares a person under stress. A person is not in normal condition, but under stress, tension. It can both be physical or emotional. Is that clear? If you see something approaching near you, you do what? Your eyes blink, or suddenly you start sweating, or something like that. You see some object which is a bit scary, be it a lizard or cockroach, anything, isn't it? So this hormone prepares you to fight that particular situation. So this is also known as the fight or flight hormone. Fight, the particular stressful condition, and flight, run away, come out of that particular situation. Is that clear? So it helps a person deal with any kind of emergency situation or emotional stress. It gives extra energy to the body and strength to face situations. But how does it do that? It is doing that by doing what? By increasing our heartbeat, And when a heartbeat increases, then what will it do? It will pump more blood. And what is the blood doing when it is pumping more? What is the function of the blood? To carry oxygen. More oxygen is reaching the body. So rate of respiration and blood pressure will also increase as a result of the increased heartbeat. It increases the blood supply to the various muscles. And as a result of this, under this influence, what happens? The liver also releases more glucose into the blood. It is giving more glucose to the body to fight that particular emergency condition. So when an animal or when a human being is threatened, that is by any danger or by any emergency, the options are usually either to stand its ground and fight or run away as fast as possible. And that energy I've just told you is because of the influence of the various activities which have increased. The liver releases more glucose into the blood and helps to fight the particular emergency or combat that particular situation, face and fight that particular situation. That is why adrenaline is called as the fight or flight hormones. So I'll just finish over here today. So revise it, and inshallah we'll proceed further in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.